might be part hobbit. So ugly. It's disgusting. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I've posted anything, and that's basically just been because I've been trying to figure out just like how to film with my DSLR, but it's just not made for filming really, and there's just been so many roadblocks and annoyances, and I got discouraged and I stopped making videos. But I'm gonna try and get back into it. And 2022 just ended and 2023 just started, so I thought, you know, why not just do a little summary of some of my favorite reads from 2022. I'm also going to be posting a video on my 23 and 23, so keep an eye out for that. And before I forget, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe or comment below. That would be wonderful. I love to connect with people. I apologize if you can hear my dog. He heard me up here and he thinks that it's someone outside, so I think it's just going to continue. In the year of 2022, I read 150 books. I think that that is probably more books than I have read my entire life leading up to this year. And it sounds like that might be a common theme because I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. And the world is crazy and we all need a little escape. So I am just going to go through my 20 favorite books that I read this year. I'm going to go through them in like chronological order, like the order in which I read them. I will say not all of these were like 5-star books, but they are the books that have stayed with me, that brought me moments of just like real joy while reading. First, this one was 5 stars. A History of Wild Places by Shea Ernshaw. I have heard really mixed reviews about this one, but I had a great time. I loved the way that it was written. I felt so confused and disoriented while trying to like collect these pieces and put this story together. I loved the way that it was written. I thought that it really like put you in the shoes of the main characters, and I just thought it was done really well. The next one, this might be my favorite book from 2022 and maybe one of my all-time favorites. It's Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This was the year I found out that science fiction is a good time. I loved this story, and the main character in it is a teacher. He wakes up on a spaceship, not sure how he got there or what's going on, and has to kind of solve this mystery. I did hear some people like complain about the story because he like over-explained things and it was really annoying and he was condescending, but I didn't feel that way because he's a teacher, and so his job is to explain things and make these really like scientific things easily understood by the youth that he teaches. Since I'm a teacher, I guess I just really like connected to him, and oh my goodness, there were multiple times where I was in tears. And I don't cry at books very often, so the fact that this could not only make me cry, but make me cry multiple times, it's just really notable. The last sentence, oh my gosh, I sobbed. It was wonderful. I loved this adventure. The Hobbit. This was my first time reading this book, and I actually read it twice because I enjoyed it that much. The descriptions, so cozy, warm and welcoming. I think I might be part Hobbit. When I was reading this, I was like, I feel so at home. I know that most of you have probably already read this book. Man, if I could just like live in the Shire, I probably would. If you haven't been on this adventure yet, give it a go. Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I love a Greek retelling. Topher and I are very passionate about Greek mythology, the gods and goddesses. The story of Ariadne was just really interesting, and I thought that it was done really well. And I loved that it changed perspectives between her and her sister. And I loved Dionysus. I had such a good time, and I just really felt they did a beautiful job of showing Ariadne's strength and how she like persevered in these like really horrible circumstances, which is pretty par for the course for women in Greek mythology. So, yeah. This was another one that had me in tears. Educated by Tara Westover. This is a memoir. The things that this woman has gone through to be able to attain the level of education that she has is incredible. So strong. Definitely check trigger warnings. There is just like really like abusive cycles. Just check it. Next we've got the OG Dark Academia, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I ordered it from the UK because the US cover is so ugly. I had a great time. I wasn't sure. It's over 600 pages, so I was really intimidated. I read it in less than a week, which I feel like is really saying a lot because I'm neurodivergent. I am a very slow reader. And so the fact that I physically read it in that amount of time is like really remarkable. I found it very engrossing. So it was a good experience. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. If you are a millennial or you grew up in like the 80s or 90s, oh my goodness, this is just like pure nostalgia. I was so happy while reading this story and being in this world, and when it was over, I didn't want it to be. I wanted to keep going. There's just so many like little Easter eggs. Like, it's just a fun time. If you like video games, if you like science fiction, if you like nostalgia, then the next book, Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki, so good. There are aliens, a strong trans lead character, violence and classical music, deals with the devil, donuts, strange pieces that you're like, how does this go together? This is fun. Pachinko by Minjin Lee. I know a lot of people on BookTube say this is like one of their favorite books, and rightfully so. It's a great one. So it follows like multiple generations of a family. I cared about the whole family, all of the characters so much. There were moments where I like literally was gasping out loud while reading it. Yup. It's kind of hard because it's like, well, yeah, these are my top 20. Like, obviously, I'm going to say highly recommend. Why else would I be mentioning them? It's kind of like running out of good things to say about all of these, but, you know, we're just going to keep pushing through. Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata as a neurodivergent woman. Yes. It's a really short, it's just fun and quirky. Give it a go. This one is a bit of a surprise. Tender is the Flesh. So good. Like the commentary on humans and what they are capable of. It's disgusting. Super, super disturbing. Lots of really like gory imagery. I mean, it's about cannibalism. As a vegan, I was like, yeah, exactly. Like, why do we put animals through this? I don't know. I thought it was really interesting in that sense, but also frustrating that the alternative to not being able to eat meat, like cows and chickens, would be to eat humans. How about just not having meat? If you can handle it, Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. This was, I think it was like Spring Fling-a-ween, like was happening when I got it from the library. This is how you do trauma in a story. Like, I felt like it was just done so well, done so respectfully, but still so impactfully. I feel so much for this. Yeah. Pet Sematary, my first Stephen King. Really, really difficult subject matter for me, especially like as just a new mom with a little boy that I'm, you know, taking care of in the world. Oh my god, the dream sequence just like ripped me apart. It's Pet Sematary. Really great. I hadn't seen like either of the movie or any of the movie adaptations before reading it, so there were still a lot of like surprises and things for me. Creepy as all get out. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. Axie O might be like an auto buy for me from now on, because I also read XOXO by her, and so good. This was just such a beautiful world to fall into, and the writing is just so descriptive and clear, and like I felt like I was like there on the boat when she's like running after her brother in the opening scene and stuff, and like, oh, please read. Please, please, please. Kind of a big stack here. I gotta rearrange some things. How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I've heard some people say that they like hated this book or like they didn't get it. I loved this. It was odd because I've heard people say like, oh well, it's a series of like short stories, but it's not really a series of short stories. Like they're all very connected, but it's not really until the very end that you see the scope of what's happening. And I think especially in the times that we are living in, with a pandemic, it was like exactly what I needed. The chapter with the roller coaster in it, I still hurt. It still hurts, but I'm okay. But I would definitely recommend, if you think you can, read a book about a pandemic without having anxiety, and like the title, and then you like think about like the stories. Oh my goodness, it is so good. And like people have said that it's like really bleak, and I'm like, did you finish it? Because perspective. The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. My first experience with Catriona Ward. I also read Sundial this year and really loved that one as well, but this was just like, my jaw was on the floor while reading this. I can't really say too much about it without like giving anything away, but you're following a few different characters, and there is kind of a mystery of this woman's missing sister, and this strange guy next door, Ted. I still think about this now, like, also the cover, like, it's beautiful. Like, this is just my kind of spooky cover. I love it. A classic, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. This was my first time reading A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and I'm sad that I waited until this point in my life to read it because it is such a good story. I'm not one to really annotate my books very much, but this one I couldn't help it because there were just so many good quotes. I just felt like it was a really well done coming of age story. Some of the things that our main character is experiencing as, a girl growing up at the turn of the century still resonates today. If you haven't read it, like, please do. The next one, a little bit lighter reading, but The Tea Dragon Society. And I have my little chamomile tea dragon here with me that Topher got me for a sweet little Yule gift. But man, if you just like want like wholesome, beautiful, wonderful things, then it's a trilogy. So it's a beautiful thing, a wonderful world to just be lost in for a few hours, because it's just like peaceful and wholesome and just so great. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Honestly, this was a cover buy for me. I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I hadn't heard anybody really talk about it, but I saw it on the shelf at Target and I was like, that's beautiful, I have to have it. And I'm so glad I did, because some of the chapters are told from the perspective of an octopus named Marcellus, and I'm a sucker for a story told from a non-human perspective. Like, give me an octopus, give me a robot, give me whatever. Like, I love it. And just seeing like his journey, and then the humans that he's interacting with in his like daily life, how it mirrors what's happening for them, and how he can like see so clearly what the humans don't. It's really, really, really beautiful. I was super attached to that octopus. Love him. My last book that I just adored was The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. Elif Shafak? I don't know how to say it. I have to look it up. This was shortlisted for women's fiction this year, I believe. And so it was like in like that top 5. As I was saying with the previous book, some of the chapters in this book are told from the perspective of a fig tree. And that just, the deal was sealed from the very get-go, because I was like, yep, okay, yeah, I love it. I love it. I think I'm probably going to read it again very soon, but it takes place in London. One of our main characters, a young girl, is it her mother who's Turkish? I can't remember if the father's Greek and the mother is Turkish, or if it's the other way around. The tension there, and not being fully acquainted with her identity and her roots. It's so hard to talk about books and not give any kind of spoiler. I just want you to be able to experience it. I went in like knowing nothing, and I loved it, and I had such a beautiful, beautiful journey. And so I want the same for you, so I'm not going to say anything else. There it was. Those are my top 20 from 2022. There were lots of other really wonderful books that I read that were 4 and 5 stars, but these are, for me, the ones that have just stayed with me since I opened them. I hope you enjoyed. If any of these books are favorites of yours, or are on your 23 for 23 this coming year, I would love to hear and know what your journey is looking like. And if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment below, and I will be seeing you.